ओम सहनम भवतु सहनं भुनक्तु सह वीर्यैः करवावहै तेजस्विनाधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ओम शांति ओम शांतिः. Let us sit down and study together. Through discussion, we sharpen each other's intellect. May we not bear any ill will towards each other. Peace, peace, peace. Let peace prevail.
For this session, the first slok that we have is about svadharma. The verse 35. And basically, one of the things I wondered, what is the difference between dharma and svadharma? And how is it different? But svadharma is something that, like if I am a doctor or a physician, my dharma is to treat and help people or heal people and patients. And in a way, Krishna is saying that feel proud about it. And this is what you know best, and this is what you can deliver best. Yeah, do your karma accordingly in your field of sphere that you have created for yourself. And in a way, we all have some aptitude or some interest that we kind of follow our life. And that's why there is this big advocacy about let children develop fully rather than you guide them at every nook and corner. This is Swadharma. I mean, he goes to the point, he says, it is even better to die in your dharma, your Swadharma, than to try and do something that you are not good at or is not your kind of nature to do.
Yeah, I mean, when we follow the aptitude that we have developed or we have got, it is much easier to move through that rather than trying a new thing and reinventing the wheel.
Yeah.
So we start with that and doing that particular action or particular work with which we are pretty familiar with, and through that we develop gradually non-attachment and find our liberation.
Right. But you are also good at what you do,
Yes,
or
of course, you have
you
to be good
become
at it.
better and better and better,
Of
right?
course, of
Yeah.
course.
Like Arjun trained all his life to be a warrior,
That's right.
right? And one of the things I mentioned, in the beginning, dharma and swadharma. So dharma is like a global map. And Swadharma is like I live in Maine. I know the roads here. I know the hiking places. I know the lakes. So this is like, so Dharma is the big picture. Swadharma is what you are contributing to the big picture.
Yes, actually, swa prefixes means yours, own.
Right.
Okay, so this is the familiar path to you. You take that,
Yeah.
and then reach to your best. Whereas dharma is the entire universe and the methodology to sustain it. So it's a global view, and this one is a individual view.
Yeah. And in individual duty or
Yes,
action that you take.
individual's path of action. That's all.
Yeah. So talking about action, it's like Krishna is talking about all these great things about karma, how did the creation happen? Karma came and, annad bhavanti bhutani. It's like big, big principles. And Arjun kind of brings him down in the next question, which is, I think, probably one of the most practical areas of Gita. And we all deal with desire or kāma, as it is said here. And Arjun asked this brilliant question, which is, athakena prayoktoyam papam charati purusha. How can people, even though they know it's not good thing to do, how they are attracted to do as if somebody is forcing them to do it. He's using the word kind of bala deva niyojita. There is a force. It's not something I don't want to do it, so I won't do it. He's kind of pulled into doing it or pushed into doing it, or he or she. And this happens all the time. Many people, and sometimes us, smoking is not good for you, but you keep smoking. And you only need to talk to people who are trying to quit smoking. It's not easy for them to do it because something forceful is kind of happening there, right? So this is such a practical question that he asks.
Yes, his question is very succinct. So then tell me, Krishna, how the wise people get diverted.
Against their wishes or against
Yes.
their knowledge that this is not the right thing to do, but still they end up doing it. Amitav, I know I have talked with you and about Duryodhan, Kaurav side, and the enemy of Pandavas, or those are the two factions that are fighting. And this verse goes, in his name, and still I don't know the source of it, but Janami dharmam nacha me pravritti, janami adharmam nacha me nivritti. And I'll translate the English. I know what is right, but I do not have the inclination to do that. I know what is wrong, but I cannot refrain from doing it. In this language also, there is some sort of force. It's not a material thing pushing or pulling, but there is a force. And you feel that even when Duryodhan says that, it's like he's saying that, yeah, I'm pulled into this.
We did talk about the cycle, how from the sense object, how we enter into the action. And we did talk about that. We look at something which is living or non-living, maybe even an idea, and we get the afferent stimuli going to our head, and the mind modulates it with desire, ego, and our conditioning from past or learning. Then it goes through efferent stimuli, and then we act. Now, this is a situation where our senses, the five senses, become very important, and the mind modulates it and likes it because of the ego, desire, complex, and conditioning. It is only when you use the discrimination, and we'll come to that in a minute.
Yeah.
It is the discrimination who filters all these thoughts and then leads us to something which is fruitful, an action that is fruitful or beneficial or benevolent. Now, in case of Duryodhan, he knows everything, that his mind is working, but he is not able to put his discrimination. Okay. And this evil attraction makes him Duryodhan. Otherwise, he will be on the Pandava side.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing that you said, evil attraction, because that's what, Krishna answers. Krishna's answer is very much to the point. He says, what is that force? And Krishna says, kāma esh, krodha esh. So kāma is the desire. It's more than desire, but we will settle for desire.
It's
Krodha
lust,
esh.
basically. It's
Yeah,
lust for
krodha.
power, lust for money, anything like that.
Yeah. And krodh is anger, right? Kāmesh,
Yes.
krodhesh, rajoguna samudbhava. It comes from rajogun, that rajas, the three gunas we talked. Rajas is the force. Mahāshano mahāpāpma. And this desire is unsatisfiable. Mahāshano. You cannot satisfy it. It is, one example given is fire. You feed fire, the fire goes up. It will keep going if you keep feeding butter or ghee or wood.
Anything flammable.
Yeah, anything inflammable, it will keep going. So the same way, our desire, we think that it will fulfill. It's so interesting, Amitabh, it's like the best thing in your life you want. It may be a car, it may be a job. Once you get it, suddenly you want something else. So
Yeah,
this want and desire is a chase that we continue chasing, and it will never satisfy itself because there is always something else that you want.
exactly. I mean, the classic example given: a dog is trying to catch his tail. He just go. So, so there is a good word for this. We must distinguish in our life what is need and what is want. Want cannot be satisfied because it always keeps on going up in geometric progression. Needs we fulfill because, to make our life useful. But if we chase want, it will be like chasing dog's tail.
Here is it's like I do want to bring this into our discussion, Amitabh, because it doesn't mean Krishna doesn't say that don't have material things. It's the
That's
relationship,
true.
and we will come to that. What is your relationship to that?
Yes.
So if you can afford a plane, you can have a plane. You can
Sure.
have the thrill. But is your attachment, how attached you are to it, how much you have it just to have it as a desire? Is it just a show off thing for you? So I don't think Krishna means that, chauki pe so jao, don't have a comfortable bed. Um, and the reason I'm bringing this up is because in India, many people start saying that just have the basic things, what you need, no more. Why should you have anything more? And I don't think Krishna means that. I think Krishna is talking more about the reversal of the role. And as we go along, I think we can come back to this topic because the next one, of course, after that, strong statement by Krishna, then he says, desire does use our means, certain means, to make us believe that it's all right. And it's like one of the thing is this mirror is covered by dust. You know, so that part of a thing it's saying, yeah, I don't, there may be fog created by this desire complex that you talk about, and you can still be chasing the dog's tail, as you said. So you may be doing it, and one day you think you will be fulfilled, but as long as the desire is the driving force, you are not going to be fulfilled.
That's we have seen that in our lives as we made journey through our life. We see that all the time. Okay,
Yeah.
and I mean, here comes the need and want. I mean, of course, you if you have worked for it, you can have all the things. But if you are totally attached to it, you get emotional upheaval because sometimes it doesn't work, sometimes it works, it's not predictable, whatever the mind just tells you. But on the other hand, if you understand, or if we understand that these are only creation of our desires or lust for the sense object that we are talking about, then it will always keep us unhappy. On the other hand, if we have the means, sure, have it, but do not get too much attached to it. And he, at a human level, he gave that example of King Janak before.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But the thing is that as long as the desire complex or the man can keep us in this fog of desire and fulfillment, kind of, this is after this I will get fulfilled, or after this I will be happy. As long as it keeps kind of engaged in that, we are not never going to find out what is beyond it.
That's right. It's a vicious cycle.
Yeah.
And then much later in Gita, we'll see a chapter of preferred versus desired.
Yeah.
And preferred versus desire is a function of discrimination, buddhi. Okay. And of course, you are going to talk about that.
Yeah. But
So,
one thing I just wanted to, before we move forward, is rajas is a force, can be a drive, and drive is not that bad. And that is the drive that keeps Arjun going, Abhimanyu going in the war and fight. Tamas is more of a heavy weight, it's like a dead weight. It's not a force that will take you somewhere. It will kind of pull you down, and kind of a shadowy fog it will keep. And Sat is almost no force, but it illuminates. It is luminous. It's just prakash, light. So it's good to understand the difference between these three, because whenever something forceful comes, it comes from rajas, whether it is anger, or whether it is desire, or a strong desire, or intense desire. So all these things, the three gunas, they have different, like compartments, but also different level of forces they apply on an individual.
yeah, it's a attribute to our characters. We are built with it because in
Yeah.
Vedanta, because we are made of, our body is made of natural elements.
Yeah.
These three attributes, Sattva, Raja, and Tamas, is already incorporated within us. And whenever we are engaging into any action, there is permutation combination of these three attributes, and it depends upon which one is most prominent at the time of action. And we should understand that.
Right.
Most
We
of the
should
time,
know
we do
that
not
these
understand.
gunas are behind our actions as well. Guna karma vibhag.
That's
Yeah.
right.
So these gunas or attributes are important contributors, especially when it comes to what is right, but you don't want to do it. And there is that rajogun is using you, or forcing you to do that.
In Rajoguna, the desire and the action is insatiable. You cannot
Yeah.
satisfy it.
No. Yeah.
Okay.
So then comes this, how does it work? What is the way, like physiology, we talk. And there are three things. Krishna says, Indriyani Mano Buddhir. So we have these three faculties. We all have that. Indriyas is our, like, sensory or visual,
The five senses, even.
the five senses. Sensory organs. Man is like this wishing mind. There is no English word for man, because we have mind, which means buddhi and man. So man is more like a wishing mind, for lack of any other word. Whereas buddhi is like the intellectual me. So these three are the kāma, or the desire itself uses these three to create the fog or create the justification. So the whole idea is who is controlling? Who is controlling our life? And that is, I think, comes to that, because he also talks about the hierarchy. If you give the control to the lowest denominator, then your actions will be like that, your fulfillment will be like that. So the shloka, which you have always quoted, even when we started this Gita, is the hierarchy in Indriyani, Paranya, Hur. So body and then the Indriyas. So Indriyas are above the body itself. So the body basically is neutral. It's the Indriyas that have this, all the desires are fulfilled with, because they feel that, they experience
By
that.
Indriya, you mean sense organs. Is that correct?
Yeah.
5 sense organs.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
And beyond the indriyas is man, which is the wishing mind.
Yes.
Manasastu para buddhir. And beyond the man is the buddhi. And buddhe paratastu sah. So we call sah, we call it atma. It's, Gita doesn't always use that word atma. I mean, it does use here and there, but yeah, something beyond. So who am I? And that sah, that person who is kind of witness, who experiences everything, is what is, is the highest level.
Yes. Actually, in this particular verse, the word Atma is not used, but in terms of Vedanta, it is the Atma which is the witness.
Yeah.
And the famous verse is Angushta Matra Nakar, and that's how it starts. It's something very small and still within, and it's always a witness of all the actions, although it is the,
Is this.
yeah. So you explain the hierarchy very well. So question is therefore when buddhi filters all the desires and ego of the mind, then our actions become more helpful, beneficial to us and our environment.
And the final verse, evam buddhe param buddhva. So what Krishna is saying that, look, as long as you give the control to Indriya or the man, you're never going to be out of that desire, um, Indriya complex or sense organ desire. What is the complex you use sometimes?
I always say that it is ego desire complex.
Ego desire complex, yeah. So somehow ego is not the word he has used here, but I'm sure ego is subtle somewhere there,
It's
and
ahankara.
we will
Ahankara.
we will come to that. But this whole thing is about the desire. How do you conquer desire? I mean, that's what it's all about. And he's saying that it's all about buddhi. Just take over the control.
Yes.
Take the control from the man and the indriyas, and now buddhi is running your life rather than your life is run by all these desires.
That's right.
I
That's
mean, there
very,
must be resistance. There must be resistance in giving up this control. Man never likes to give the control away. And I think one thing, Amitabh, I and you talked on this thing because I always felt that whenever we say man, buddhi, ahankar, or indriyas are part of the body, I get that. But man and buddhi, I feel that they are not necessarily in our head. And that is, there may be controversy that, but for my understanding, it's much easier if I feel that these are things, they are along with us. They can create a force. I mean, like we saw, the
yes.
Rajogun can create a force. And even if you don't want to do something good or bad, you end up doing it. There is some force pushing you there. So all these things are something that are around us. They are very closely associated with us. Maybe they are part of the astral body that comes out after the physical body dies. But it's easier for me to understand that yes, now the control is into man. Now I'm giving control to buddhi, and now I can think about what I'm doing rather than I'm driven by this rajogun. So for me, it's much easier to understand this if I feel that it is, although very closely associated, but it's outside our body.
Yeah, it basically being aware of what is controlling our thought process, which can translate into action. Basically, buddhi is to me, is just a filtering uh, kind of psychological force.
Yeah.
Mhm. And that's what is is important. And that's why in the last verse he says that using buddhi, Arjun, you proceed.
Yeah.
Okay. And that is the final word on this verse. I mean, this is the final verse, but it succinctly points out what should be done. And this is basically awareness of looking at our own selves, how we are functioning, how our thoughts are evolving from a sense object, and then kind of filtering it through using intellect and then act upon. And
Yeah, but I just read the first half of this shloka. The second half is so strong. Krishna is so strong about this. Jahi shatrum mahābāho. Kill this shatru. He calls it shatru. This desire, this kāma, is the shatru. Kāma rūpam durasadam. And durasadam is durja. It's a very invincible shatru. So don't underestimate it. So he's calling it shatru, but he's also calling it kind of very powerful. And that's why I was trying to say that if you think of buddhi here, man here, then it's easy to think about, whose control you are in, rather than if it is all part of our brain and neurons, then and chemicals, then we can always blame the chemicals, right? I'm doing it because my hormones are different, But I think we have to start thinking of it as something that we can, if something is forcing me to do something, I can stop that force. I can kill that force, although it sounds like, you kill it and it keeps coming.
that's why it is durasha. It means actually, I mean, in Bengali, durasha means once is a powerful, evil opponent.
Yeah.
Okay, so so the point, as you mentioned, these forces are within our psychology or our constitution,
Yeah.
but it is difficult at present to place where they are in our physical existence, whether it is all around us or whether it is within us, or or, or it got incorporated in our body. We do not know that. But the bottom line is we understood the mechanism, how the actions happen, because of which particular trait or gunas, which one is preponderant or prominent, and how to filter it using intellect and then do benevolent or fruitful work.
No, that's important. I mean, we can keep hypothesizing where it resides, but the
That,
bottom line is we have to deal with it.
that's right.
And we have to deal strongly. It's not like a casual approach. Krishna is very, I mean, this is one thing, my takeaway here is that it is a force that you are dealing with. So
Definitely.
you're not dealing with just idea or thought. You are dealing with a force. And you have to use another force, like force of buddhi. So instead of having force of rajogun and force of your desire, you have to deal with your buddhi and use it as a force to kind of kill it. Jahi. I mean, it's like Jahi shatrum mahābāho. And you have to kind of start changing the conversation. We don't have this conversation about desires as being our shatru because we think, like we talk three levels of driving forces, and desire is a driving force, it's a great driving force, but it can take us on the slippery slope.
Sure. And that brings in my favorite Native American proverb. We
Mhm.
have two wolves inside us, says the Native American
Yeah.
proverb, the bad and the good one. It depends upon which one you want to feed,
Yeah.
and the results will be like that.
Yeah, those could be, one could be buddhi and the good one could be buddhi, the bad wolf
And
could be the desire, which is running wild.
yes, exactly.
So yeah, you can tame it, but Krishna is very vocal about, it's like very strong words he has used against desire. And um,
It has been said in many other religious scriptures.
yeah,
And we have a very good saying in Hindu scripture that Sattam ekam bahudha bhuvanti pandita.
yeah,
The true, absolute truth is one, like this cycle that we discussed. Bahudha bhuvanti pandita. The wise man has said in many different ways.
yeah. Yeah, I know. I love that verse when it comes to talking about, like different religions talk about different things, but sometimes we have so many of those Buddha, that it can
Yes.
be overwhelming, and challenging.
Yeah, it is
But
overwhelming because we many times we do not discriminate.
yeah, that
Anytime
Buddhi,
we have
yeah, I think
anytime
what Krishna is saying is using strong words, but he's giving a very simple answer that just change the control. This is the hierarchy. And
yes,
just for recapping, indriyas, man, buddhi, and then beyond buddhi is saha, means atma, or the true you.
yes,
And
yes.
if the control is, the higher the control it is, the better your life is going to be. More prosperous, more flowery, more happy. You're not going to chase your tail.
That's why, uh, as a comment, that why should we do good work? Previously, you described the cycle,
Yeah,
okay, and the yagna, and then also who we are really. What is our identity? Who am I? These two things, if we know that, using buddhi becomes very easy.
yeah. So far, Amitabh, I mean, this is the most practical question. This is the most practical. I mean, the answer is so to the point. I mean, Krishna doesn't beat the bush around, It's like he comes and he says how it is, what it is. Methodical, very scientific, I think.
And this chapter is very, very important because we, when we live in this world, material world, we are always engaged into actions,
Yeah,
okay, rather than other types of other paths of yoga. But it
yeah,
is it is important how these actions happen, why it happens, how to modify it and turn it to our favor and our surrounding and this world and all the and entire community. So it's a very, very, I would say, discriminating and holistic type of approach to any actions. I remember one of the uh, couplets from Kabir, which says that, "O Lord, give me only that much that I can satisfy myself, but a person who comes and begs at my door, I should be able to give him the alms too." So basically, it is individual satisfaction as well as community work. And this work is without any aspiration for result. It is just because it is a good job and it maintains the order in the society and it helps to flourish the society.
yeah,
So, so I think that this chapter is very practical to most of us compared to other scriptural teaching. They are important, but
yeah.
this one is very practical, and that's why it is so
I,
impressive.
I cannot agree more. I have to agree with you, Amitabh, because third chapter was something that I always skimmed in the past, and I mentioned that before. And this part that we learned, I mean, it is really, I got two main points I got was Rajogun is a force that you're dealing with. And then the other is the hierarchy of the inner forces. And give the control to the higher force, I mean, higher level, rather than leave the control with man or indriya.
That's right.
If I can, yeah, this is,
I call it many times, though erroneously maybe, that one is a spinal reflex, other one is a cortical reflex.
yeah,
One is a knee-jerk reaction.
yeah,
Okay. It doesn't go to the cortex of our
right,
brain,
yeah.
but then the cortex modifies it. I mean, this is an analogy. I
Yeah,
don't
no,
like.
it is. For people who are not medical, knee jerk is, you tap below the knee and the knee reacts. It never goes, the control doesn't come from above the brain.
That's right.
Whereas the muscle tone or any movement that you want to do, voluntary or involuntary, voluntary movement, that comes controls from the cortex.
That's the simplest analogy in my mind.
That's a very good analogy. Yeah.
किम कुर्वत संध्या